Breakfast first up with Kane Cornes. I'm Sarah, Olle and Kane. What an unexpected finish to this third iteration of Gather Round. Port Adelaide, would you believe, silencing and stunning Hawthorn. Did you see it coming?
I did not see it coming. I believe it now. But what about the start and what about the build-up to this game where both teams sit around for the whole weekend and watch everyone else go at it? And then this is what Port Adelaide produced. Look at those first half stats, the disposals, the contested footy, the clearance work after being so poor. And I volcanoed them last week for their work against the Saints in the midfield. What a response. And then their forwards look so dangerous, led by their smalls with Richards and Pau Pepper and Rioli, and here's some of that work at the start.
It was incredible, wasn't it, from the word go? It was such a shock given the byplay between these two teams that extends back to last year's final series. But Hawthorn had the bye and they looked like they were still on the bye, Kane.
Yeah, 15 days off they had, so maybe they just sat back and enjoyed their own work. 4-0. That man, Connor Rosie, Ken Hinkley said before the game, we've got a surprise. Well, that was a surprise, and he nailed 2 first half goals after starting across half back. So he'd been down on form the last 2 weeks, he'd been targeted by the opposition, and a great response. But Hawthorn was so rattled, like the captain Sicily was rattled and the rest of the group were rattled. They turned the footy over and Port Adelaide punished them.
I thought the leaders really set the tone early. You mentioned the captain, Connor Rosie, but also Zach Butters, who's kind of the spiritual leader of this group. They were sensational.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Butters is second game back, so for him to come and do this after a limited preparation, just enormous. He had a heap of the footy last week, didn't use it as well. And Rosie actually was drafted as a half-back. He played in the grand final for North Adelaide and had played some good football there. We hadn't seen it at AFL level. I thought they might have done it last year with Houston out when he got suspended, but it's taken them some time, and what an impact that he had. And I just thought it made the midfield more balanced because of the 3 guns that they've got. You spread it out a bit more, and this sort of stuff here with Butters to that man, Horn Francis, is there a better side in football than that?
You mentioned some of the tricks that Ken Hinkley, well, he teased us with them. He had some in his kit bag. I thought another one was sending Sam Powell-Pepper to the Hawks skipper, James Sicily. What did you make of the move?
Well, I was wondering who was going to be the one in the face of the opposition. It had to be Butters or Sam Powell-Pepper, and I mean, what a result. Like the contest stuff that he was able to win early, and I just thought, Sicily let himself down in the first half. There's no doubt about that with that sort of stuff, and Pau Pepper leading him to the ball in the contest that he lost, but also some of his ball use. And as soon as you're forced to push him forward, I think that's Ken Hinkley going back and saying, well, that's a win. Like Sicily is such a great interceptor and ball user and distributor. He's gone forward sort of halfway through the second term, and that was a huge win for them in the coach's box.
Sam Powell-Pepper is one of Ken Hinkley's favourite players, isn't he? And he certainly responded because we know that Port Adelaide they're under pressure, but he played such a big role, and there was plenty of biff throughout this game. It's turning into one of the best rivalries in the AFL, isn't it, Kane?
Yeah.
A legitimate rivalry, spot fires everywhere.
Everywhere. And I think like Hawthorn tried to play it down during the week and in the lead up to this. The AFL didn't, and we didn't. What about that from Rioli, showing the footy? You don't see that very often, and CJ gives away a double goal, so the free kick from the top of the goal square, and that's just another sign that, there are some chinks in this Hawthorn armour. We've seen them as the best team in it since round 5 last year, but they were vulnerable tonight. Port Adelaide got under their skin, and I think if you're prepared to give it out like they have, and the selfies and the social media and the goal celebrations, but you can't cop it, then there's a few other teams looking and going, okay, maybe there is a weakness.
Do we give them a mulligan, Hawthorn? We know Will Day, he's so important for them. I think they've gone 0-6 without him over the past 12 months, but we did mention the bye and they just look so flat-footed.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to be up for that long, and they've been up for a long period of time. We're not talking this year, we're talking right back until sort of they lost the first 5 last year, and they've been the best team since that. So I think their second half showed some good signs, and they hung around and they kept in it and they didn't give it up or turn their toes up. But there's no doubt there's some opposition teams going, okay, there's a few weaknesses that Port Adelaide have exposed.
Is it a wake-up call, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, and it might not be the worst thing for them. Geelong, Easter Monday is a big game. Their draw gets a little bit easier for them, so it might not be a bad thing for them what happened tonight.
Earlier in the day at Norwood Oval, the Giants really humbled St Kilda, and it was their skipper, Toby Green, who led the way with 5 goals. I think by his own admission, he was a bit down on form last year, Kane, but he's back in a big way in 2025.
Just a good reminder, isn't it? I mean, we speak about Hogan a lot, and there's some youngsters, some small forwards at the Giants that we really like, but this guy's an All-Australian captain from not that long ago, and you're right, he's been really honest about his form last year, and the fact that he struggled in the contest and he sort of lost some of that. So to see that breakaway speed, exactly right. I was just about to say that. It's a great pickup. Like, he's aerially strong, but has probably lost a bit of that power, so he's rediscovered that. and put on a show today at Norwood Oval.
I thought the Giants, their pressure was immense. There was so much heat, and it led to several St Kilda turnovers, and they were only too happy GWS to just pounce on them, Kane.
10 of them to three-quarter time. Now, the scoreboard was flooded by the Saints in their last quarter finish, but this game was over at three-quarter time, and this is why. The best teams, the teams that will be in the last four this year and play in prelim finals will be the team that are strongest off the turnover. So turn it over, and then how do you go back and score? The Giants did that so well today. So force the turnover is one thing, but then going back and scoring like they did today. So once again, I never bought into the Saints hype. I think they've done a remarkable job of being where they are with the talent they've got. But that was just a reminder that, they're a fair way off the pace in terms of the best teams.
You also haven't bought into the hype when it comes to one of their recruits, Jack McRae. He's come across from the Western Bulldogs prior to this match, averaging 32 touches, almost 10 clearances.
Yeah.
But is it a problem when Toby Bedford goes to him? I mean, it means that they're identifying him as the best midfielder at St Kilda, and I didn't see another Saints mid get off the chain today.
No, it is an issue. So last week, Garcia did it. Windhager plays a negating role. And if you allow McRae to just rack them up, he will, because he's won so many possessions for the last 10 years. What he does it for fun. I don't think he necessarily hurts you, but the Giants clearly did. I was surprised they went to him, but it was a good move. And until sort of Filippo come back and some others can really get going through the midfield, then he's probably going to have to put up with that attention.
There's a storyline bubbling away. It doesn't involve a St Kilda player, but one they're pursuing in the free agent Tom de Koning, the Carlton ruckman. If you're advising Tom, what's more alluring, going to St Kilda or staying at the Blues?
I think the Saints.
Yeah.
I think the Saints have got more young talent than what Carlton do. If you look at their under-23s at the Blues, their best five is better. When you look at Wiedery and Curnow and Cripps and Mackay and Walsh.
They're all getting a bit older, aren't they?
But they are, and then underneath that, what else is there? Whereas I think the Saints are building nicely from the bottom up.
The Barossa Park became the 51st AFL-VFL venue, and today Fremantle made it its own. They recorded their biggest win ever over Richmond, and Josh Tracy, he was licking his lips. 6 snags for him, Kane, a career best.
Yeah, how good are the key forwards going at the moment?
They
so
are.
This guy's, we speak a lot about Phil Thorpe, the Phil Seeker and Darcy and what they've done, but let's start speaking about this guy a little bit more. Now, it is against Richmond, but he's been doing it against better opponents than this, so he needs someone to come with him, and Amos has got to come with him because he's not. And I thought leading into the year, these two would be really dangerous, like with their youth and how good Amos was developing. He hasn't, but it's been left to Tracy, who is enormous. His work rate, his defensive stuff, and his multiple leads today really stood out to me.
I mean, not to be a party pooper, but it was against Richmond.
Yes.
It's only going to get tougher for Fremantle. It started 0-2. They've won 3 in a row, but it's been against lesser opposition, and this starts to get quite tough.
That's a good little stretch for them because I think they need it.
Yeah.
Because they have lost. Geelong and Sydney were bad losses to start. The victories that you've said have been against the weaker side, so that's a really good 5-week stretch. Are you ready to be talked about as a premiership contender? We'll find out in a few weeks' time.
Now, there's 18 teams. That means hundreds of players, but for some reason you're going somewhere else with this volcano, Kane.
I am, and I'm upset about it. And Luke Beveridge actually put this on the agenda a few weeks ago, just in terms of what holding the ball looks like and what a legal disposal looks like. This is in one passage of play yesterday. Count the throws here. There is one. Now, none of these are paid. None of these throws are paid. There's one there. There's another there. That's not a legal disposal. There's going to be, now that led to a Bailey goal. So there's another throw there, and he kicks that amazing goal. But what is going on in the game where we do not know what holding the ball is, and we certainly do not know what a legal or illegal disposal is. I'm counting 5 there, and this is, I'm telling you, in one quarter of footy, in a 5-minute stretch where not one umpire, not one of the 4 thought that we would pay a throw. So I'm just concerned, like Luke Beveridge said, what holding the ball looks like, and that's a great example of it.
Didn't mind the sound effects either there,
Yeah,
Kane. Ding, 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 8 times. And the big story emerging from here at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night was, unfortunately, Melbourne, Essendon consigning them to an 0-5 start. It means the only other winless side is West Coast. It brings Simon Goodwin and his future into conversation. I want to get your opinion, but before we go there, let's listen to Simon Goodwin after the loss on Saturday night.
It's not about me. It's about the club, it's about the team, it's about these players. We've had a lot of challenges as a club, and I said this during the week, we've had a lot of challenges through my time at the footy club. And, I've been pretty well serviced to see the club through that. And I feel pretty well credentialed to do that. And we're in a challenging spot right now, and we acknowledge that. But my focus is just doing my job to the best of the ability.
He says that, but they're 0-5, and as I mentioned, the company they're keeping, it's West Coast. You don't want to be down there, Kane.
No, and he says that he feels like he's confident that he can do the job, but he hasn't shown that to be the case. So from the premiership win and how their game plan has really evaporated from them. So really strong contest team. They couldn't move the football. Now they can't do both. Now they're losing contest and they cannot move the football and they cannot score. They're getting enough entries, which is, I guess, one positive, but they can't score from those. So he's at a loss as to how to fix this, and he's definitely running out of time.
Well, how much time do you give him?
I gave him 6 weeks to show some improvement in the game plan 2 weeks ago, and the last 2 weeks couldn't have been worse. So I think he's got probably a month left to show some significant improvement in fixing the game plan issues that are there and that have been there for so long. But yeah, what a storyline this is building up to be. I think the biggest in the game after their pre-season talk about love and connection and all that rubbish to what we're seeing on the field, which is none of that and the complete opposite. So yeah, it was a really confronting performance, I thought.
Time now for the temperature test, thanks to Sportsbet. Let's see how the rest of the teams are faring. Now, the Swans for mine, Kane, on Friday night were really disappointing, and you've got them simmering.
Yes, I'm just keeping them there because of what happened last year and the injuries that they've got, but they were poor. We've got a lot of poor teams. That's the concerning thing for the AFL. After round 5, there are so many very average teams, and there's some good teams, and the two at the top are the best of them at the moment.
The Queenslanders.
Yeah, we just dropped Hawthorn down 1 just because of the chinks in the armour that we've seen tonight. I really like what Geelong are doing, so yeah, the storylines will develop, but right now the concern is how many ordinary teams we've got.
Kane, it's been another incredible gather round. I've got to say, it's my first here in Adelaide. I am seduced.
Are you coming back?
I'm coming back. It has to stay here, doesn't it?
Right, no, it has to stay here, and I don't think you'll be missing next year, so I hope you've had a great time.
I have, and I hope you've had a great time. This has been First Up with Kane Cornes.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.